Good morning. It is a beautiful day here in North Carolina, and today I'm going to take you along to photograph the birds of the spring migration. So come along and enjoy this adventure. Before I get into the video, I just want to talk about two house cleaning issues that I have. One, I am going to start doing classes again. If you're interested, please go to my website and check it out. The other issue that I have is people are notifying me that they're getting unsubscribed to the channel. Please check below to make sure that you're subscribed. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button. Just make sure that you're subscribed. I don't know why it's happening, but I am getting some messages that it is happening. So I really appreciate you doing that. So the spring migration is probably the most exciting time to be photographing birds. Now, you have to be strategic about doing this. You can't just kind of like wander around the woods and hopefully get the maximum amount of birds. So we're in the first week of April. The winter birds are on their northern migration to their breeding grounds. And the summer birds are what we call tropical birds, haven't arrived here in North Carolina. So what my goal today is to photograph two species of birds. I want to go after the Swamp Sparrow and the Easter Towhee. Now I'm in a new area here, someplace I've never photographed birds before. This area is a pond that has drained and then flooded back in and then drained and flooded back in. So where I am right now is the end of the pond, which is kind of in a flooded timber area, and I'm hoping that this will hold and attract swamp sparrows. The swamp sparrow is a winter visitor here to North Carolina. It is an exciting bird to see, and right now it's in its breeding colors. Now, where I am in the north central part of North Carolina is the northernmost area of its winter ground. So they winter here in the southern part of the United States, and then they fly to the northern part in Canada to breed. And with some luck today, I will be able to photograph some swamp sparrows down here in this swampy area that I'm in now. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to head up the hill here and hopefully photograph some towhees. We're going to see how that goes. But my first goal is to try and photograph these swamp sparrows. Now, I have never scouted this area I was just decided this morning this is somewhere where I was going to come and photograph birds. And I was kind of like, not sure if I should come down here because I know there are other areas I can go and photograph swamp sparrows. So there's a trail about 100 yards up here, and every time I walk down this trail this winter, I've been hearing swamp sparrows singing. So I said to myself, I'm going to go down there and photograph them. And from up on the trail, it looks like very thick habitat down here. But once I got down here, the habitat is not very thick, and it's not ideal habitat for swamp sparrows. So I really was not expecting to see one. And one of my biggest flaws as a bird photographer is I'll go to someplace new, just declare it sucks, and say I have to move on to someplace better. And that's something I'm trying to really work on. So I said, I'm here. I did all the crap I had to do to get here. I'm going to stick it out. And I've been here about 25 minutes, kind of really running down this place in my mind. And to be fair, this is kind of a more of a woodland area, and this is more flooded timber, not ideal habitat for the swamp sparrow, but I was going to stick it out. And I was here about 20-25 minutes, and I was kind of saying I need to get going, move on, this isn't going to work out. And just as I started to say that to myself, the swamp sparrow hopped up on a branch, and I was able to get maybe 4 or 5 pictures of it. I'm really hoping they're in focus, but it was exciting seeing the bird. And I really do believe this is a bird that has migrated from the southern part of the United States to here, is trying to get some food into its system, because as soon as it flew off, it didn't just fly across the pond, it flew out of this area here. So I really do believe that that bird was from a further southern location and came here. But anyways, I did get the picture, I saw the bird, so I'm going to say that's a victory. And I'm going to go up the hill here and see if we can photograph some towhees. Well, I'm a little upset with myself. I'm moving really slow today. Last week I was in Alligator River National Wildlife Refuge, which is on the eastern seaboard of the United States in North Carolina. And this national refuge is famous for two things: bears and red wolves. Red wolves are an extremely endangered species here in the United States, and they have a breeding population of them in Alligator River. I was fortunate enough to see one. I was moving along a drainage ditch trying to get a photograph of one of these wolves. I stood up, I was able to take a few pictures, and then I fell ass over T-pedal into the drainage ditch. Fortunately, I was able to protect my camera, but I was not able to do the same thing for my legs. I can just, the look on the doctor's face when I told him what happened was, I can just imagine he was writing psych evaluation on the my entrance form there. So what I'm going to do here is I'm walking down this trail here, and there are towhees that have been seen along this trail. I have actually seen them there. So with some luck, we'll be able to photograph them, and I'm going to take it easy. I'm actually about 3/4 of a mile away from my car, and I really don't want to go any further than that because of my pulled muscles and stuff like that. I really don't want to push myself really hard. But with any luck, I'll be able to be down here and be able to take some pictures of those birds. So the first thing I do whenever I get any place like this is I set up my camera to where I think it needs to be to get those pictures I see in my head. So I'm raising up the tripod a little bit so that it's at eye level where I think the birds are going to appear in this thicky, prickery kind of bushes here. And the other thing I'll do too is check my shutter speed. Now, as a rule of hand, your shutter speed should be twice of whatever your focal length is. This focal length is 600. My shutter speed should be 1/1200 of a second. Because I'm up on a tripod, I can push that a little bit. If I have 1/800th of a second, 1,000th of a second, I think that will be fine. I think one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is when they get in there, either their shutter speed is incredibly low or the shutter speed is incredibly high. You don't need a shutter speed of 2,000 of a second to photograph birds in a situation like this here. So what I do is lower my ISO or raise my ISO that I have the appropriate shutter speed for the situation. But that's just a quick thing that you can do. It takes a few seconds, and just doing something like this will really help you take those epic photos that you see in your head. Seeing the towhees hop along these trees down here. I'm about 30 yards down from where I was before, and I'm using this tree as kind of like to break up my silhouette. Camouflage will probably help me a lot here. I think this green is helping a little bit, but they seem to be only coming so far. They weren't coming to the prickle bushes I was in front of, so I'm kind of hoping that there's a tree out here that they seem to be hopping up on. I'm just going to wait here. I'm probably 20 yards away from where that tree is, and I'm really hoping that if I stay quiet and stop talking to this camera, I'll be able to take a picture of it. Just had a brown thrasher hop up on a branch here. I think that's a really good bird to get. They're an uncommon bird here in North Carolina, but still, it was in bright brown breeding colors, and just getting a bird like that is always a win. I finally got a picture of that towhee. He showed up here just for a second. I've been out here for a couple of hours, but I mean, I did get the brown thrasher, I did get the swamp sparrow, and I did get a towhee. I'm kind of really excited about that. The brown thrasher is actually singing right behind you, which is really, really nice. I'm going to show you the pictures of those Towhees, but first I want to thank you for watching. If you got anything out of this picture at all, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to this channel because that helps us in the YouTube world. Become a Patreon supporter. Your support allows us to keep doing this. My name is Leahy. I want to thank you for watching.